Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and this is my final wrap-up for Cloak and Dagger Christmas 2022. Now you will notice, the eagle-eyed among you, that there was no week 3 wrap-up for Cloak and Dagger Christmas, and that is because of our Christmas adventure. We had quite the time of it. We had planned to go and visit my parents for Christmas, and they live in the next province. They live in Alberta. And so we were going to fly because winter driving here is never a good idea. So we had booked a flight first thing in the morning that would have gotten us to my parents' house by mid-morning on the 23rd. And we were very proud of this plan of ours. And so we woke up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the airport for our 6:30 flight. And half an hour before the flight was supposed to leave, we were told that it was canceled due to crew issues. They didn't have enough crew. So we had to go back downstairs, get our suitcase from the carousel, and join the huge line of people that were trying to figure out what to do next. Ours was not the only flight canceled that morning. There were 2 other flights canceled. So we were in this huge lineup. It basically ran the entire length of the airport. And so we were waiting in this line, and then Erin gets an email from WestJet saying that they've booked us on another flight in the evening at like 6 o'clock in the evening. So we thought, okay, we've got so much time, let's just go back home. So we took an Uber back home. We had taken an Uber to the airport. We took an Uber back home, and we waited throughout the day for our evening flight. We took an Uber back to the airport at about 4 o'clock and checked our bag and went through security. And then our flight was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. We didn't actually leave until about 11 o'clock at night. So we didn't get to my parents until, I think it was around midnight that we got to my parents' house. Well, they live 45 minutes from the airport, so we Ubered there as well. Well, so that was an adventure, but we had a great Christmas with my parents. It was really, really fun, and I saw family, and we had a great time. And then we were supposed to leave in the evening of the 27th. So we Ubered to the airport and checked our bags, went through security, and only to find out that our flight had been delayed by like half an hour. And so we thought, well, we'll get some, we'll just wait. And then it was delayed again, and then again, and we thought, okay, well, let's get some supper. So we were eating in the restaurant, and we got the email that our flight had been canceled. And so then we found out that they booked us on the flight first thing the next morning. So we thought we'd stay at the airport hotel, because it's 45 minutes to Uber to my parents' house. It just wasn't worth it. So we went and we got our bag from the carousel, and we checked into the hotel, only to discover that the room cost $400. It was ridiculous. Anyways, we were checking our bag the next morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, only to discover that the flight had been canceled because there was freezing rain in Regina, and obviously planes couldn't land on the tarmac. So then we were trying to decide what to do. How long was this going to last? Then we heard that they booked us on the evening flight, and we thought, you know what? There's a good chance that's going to get canceled as well. So back we went to my parents. And then there proceeded to be 2 days of delays and cancellations, We basically spent the 2 days on the airport websites watching to see if any flights were getting out and if anything was landing in Regina. It was crazy. And finally, after so many flights being canceled, we thought, you know what? Erin took a look at the weather and the roads. The highways were clear. The weather was good. We thought, we're just going to rent a car and finally get home. So we did, but because of some issues at the rental place, we didn't leave the city until like 3:30 in the afternoon. So we drove for a bit, stayed overnight, and we finally got home on the 31st. It was crazy. Anyways, we are finally home. Erin and I both are sick with colds, so Happy New Year. But let's get into this, what I read for the last half of December, and I'll let you know how I did with the prompts. I want to say a big thank you to my co-hosts for making Cloak and Dagger Christmas so much fun. Kate Howe, Carolyn from Carolyn's Reading Ramblings, Kate from the Novel Nomad, and Mel from Melanie Martin. We just had a great time. I really did have a fantastic Cloak and Dagger Christmas. I read some great books. So let's just dive right into that. First off, I read The Railway Murders by J.R. Ellis, and I read this for NetGalley. It's a police procedural. It's the 8th in the Yorkshire Murder Mystery series, and so this is what attracted me to it, is that it is set in Yorkshire, and I love that. And this one was also set on a train, and I am a sucker for murder mysteries set on a train. So this one actually was a locked room impossible crime. There was a film crew was filming at this little, it's like a museum station for steam engines, and so they were filming there because their movie was set, I think, in the Edwardian time period. And the actor is shot in his train carriage while they're filming, and it was an impossible crime because they couldn't figure out where the person was who had murdered him. He had been shot like in the 1 mile between where they started and when they came into the station, and it was great. It was a really good locked room impossible style mystery. I also loved that at the beginning of every chapter, the author talked about famous books or movies that are set on trains. And so in the first one, for the prologue, he wrote this: Murder on the Orient Express 1934 by Agatha Christie is probably the most famous railway mystery story of all time. It has inspired a number of films and television versions. Famous actors playing the part of Hercule Poirot in their adaptations include Albert Finney, David Suchet, and Kenneth Branagh. And so I just loved that was a part of every chapter. It was really fun. I would say that the speech did feel a little bit formal at times. Like it didn't always feel natural, the dialogue. So for example, our main detective, Oldroyd, he is with his sister. So this is a relationship that should be extremely comfortable. They've known each other for a very long time. And his sister, she says, knowing Deborah, that's Oldroyd's partner, knowing Deborah, I'd say she'd cope with it much better than many people. She's got resources both in personality and in her knowledge of psychology. So do you get what I was saying? Like, that just feels just a little bit formal for a conversation between a brother and a sister. And that happened multiple times between a variety of people. But other than that, I did really, really enjoy this book. I really enjoyed the setting and the mystery. And there were also a lot of bird references. And I'm a bit of a bird watcher, so I really did enjoy that as well. I really enjoyed the Railway Mysteries, and I gave it 4 stars. All right, and then because I had such a poor outing on Could You Survive a Midsomer by Simon Brew, I decided to do it again. And I did do a little bit better this time, but I will be doing this again because I still have not actually solved the mystery. This was my performance review. Case appears closed. Other lines of inquiry need following up. While we couldn't level charges, it seems clear who the murderer was. We consider the case closed, even though the suspect is now deceased. Lack of clear evidence means formal conviction impossible. So that was better, but not great. I will definitely be doing this again. And then I read A Resolution at Midnight by Shelley Noble, and this was for 10 Lords A-Leaping, a story with nobility in it. Our main character is Lady Dunbridge. This is set in Manhattan during the Gilded Age, and this is like the second or third in the series, and I felt a little bit lost. This is a series where you probably should start from the very beginning to get a good understanding of the characters. But it was all right. So it was set at Christmas and then ends at New Year. So that part was great. Roasted chestnuts from vendors' carts, fresh cut spruce trees lining the sidewalks, extravagant gifts, opulent dinners, carols at St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's Christmas in Gilded Age Manhattan. And there is a murder of a prominent newsman, and Lady Dunbridge is investigating, and some of her friends are connected. But the thing that I did not understand is that there is some mystery guy, and she calls him Mr. X because he will not tell her his name and he will not let her see him. So I think in the first book, obviously we will, be introduced to this guy, but why he can't tell her who he is or let her see him is weird to me. And so she calls him Mr. X, and he kind of gives her assignments, but he is always incredibly vague, and she doesn't know who she's working for. And I found that really annoying, and I didn't understand the need for it. So I did enjoy this one, but I didn't love it because of that aspect. But anyway, it was all right. Then I read another one for 3 French Hens. This is When It Grows Dark by Jorn, Lier, Horst. This is a police procedural set in Norway. I believe it's Norway. Yes. And it opens with the series detective, William Wistig, receiving a letter, and then it takes him back, and this story is him remembering the events of 1983, and I really did enjoy this. I would definitely read more from this series. I really enjoyed how it was written, and I liked the character of William as a detective, and I kind of liked this, like, looking back and remembering this case that ultimately was unsolved, and yeah, I just really did enjoy it. And so this was translated from the Norwegian, and I will definitely be looking for more books in this series. Oh wait, okay, and then I did finish Midwinter Murder by Agatha Christie. This is a collection of holiday short stories, and I had quite a few in here that I really enjoyed. So I would give this collection probably actually 4.5 stars, because I had the Christmas Tragedy I gave 5 stars to. The Chocolate Box I gave 5 stars to. And then there was another one called Sanctuary that I also gave 5 stars to. And yeah, and then the rest I basically gave 4 stars to. So I really did enjoy all the short stories in this collection. Sanctuary was great. It was a Miss Marple short story from 1954, and it's set at Chipping Cleghorn, and the Bunch Harmon is in it. Well, we first are introduced to Chipping Cleghorn in A Murder is Announced from 1950, so I love that she went back there in a short story. And we met Bunch in that short story as well, and Inspector Craddock. So I loved those connections. I thought that was great. This one also had the short story Christmas Adventure from 1923. And then she went on to expand that short story, and it became The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. And I had read that one earlier in the month, so it was interesting to read Christmas Adventure and see how she had added to it. And really, like, The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding is much better of a short story, but you got the kernels in it from that one, and so that was really cool. All right, and then I read The 12 Deaths of Christmas by Marian Babson. This one is set in London, and it's a detective superintendent, Knowles, and this was written in the 70s, I think. 1978, maybe? I don't think I've ever read anything by Marian Babson. 1979. And there are deaths occurring in his area of the city, and he thinks they're all connected because of the types of deaths that they are. What made this really interesting is that it included an anonymous killer narrative, and so the chapter headings let you know when they were on the first day of Christmas, or the second day of Christmas, or the third day of Christmas. Then you knew that those were the anonymous killer narratives. And then the other ones just had lines from famous Christmas carols or Christmas songs. So I thought that was interesting. It was interesting to get the perspective of the killer. But this book, in the end, I would say that it was just okay. It was an okay Christmas mystery. Okay, and then I read Undone by Karin Slaughter. I'm continuing my reread of her books, and so we have now combined the Grant County series with the Will Trent series, and this is the first one with that combination. So we meet Sarah Linton is in here, and Will Trent and his partner Faith, and this one was really good. It was crazy. This woman is brought into the trauma center where Sarah Linton is working in Atlanta, and she has been kidnapped and held for days, and it was horrific. And so yeah, them trying to solve this case and discovering that there are others like her. It was classic. It was classic Karin Slaughter, but I did really enjoy it. And then I read The Case is Closed by Patricia Wentworth. This would be for Partridge in a Pear Tree because it has an alliterative title. I really enjoyed this one. It's a Miss Silver mystery, but there's actually not a huge amount of Miss Silver. Really, it's Hillary doing the investigations and her ex-fiance Henry, and then Henry contacts Miss Silver to get her involved. But I really enjoyed the premise for this one. Her friend Marian's husband Geoffrey is in jail, convicted of murdering his uncle, and but Hillary really does believe that Geoffrey didn't do it, and so she decides to start investigating, and it was great. I really did enjoy it. I loved when Miss Silver was there, but I enjoyed the characters of Hillary and Henry enough that I was enjoying the story even when she wasn't there. So I did really enjoy this one. And then I also completed our group read of Silent Nights, Christmas Mysteries, edited by Martin Edwards. And this one was just really fun. A collection of Christmas or holiday short stories, most of them from the golden age of mysteries. And I just really enjoyed it. I didn't love every story, but I did enjoy most of them. And I loved reading some of these out loud with Kate Howe and others on her Zoom calls. That just made it a really fun Christmassy activity. All right, so I also completed all the prompts. So I managed to get to Sherlock Holmes level. I completed 4 Calling Birds, Read in Nature or Go for a Walk. I completed that one at my parents' house, and I took video to prove it, so I'm going to insert that here. Hello everyone, it is Christmas Day, early afternoon, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to do my Read in Nature prompt because the weather has actually warmed right up. It's only -14 Celsius. So I am going to read a little bit from our group read, Silent Night, Christmas Mysteries, edited by Martin Edwards, and I am on The Chinese Apple by Joseph Shearing. Merry Christmas, everybody! I completed 6 Geese a-laying, have a cozy time eating Christmas treats, and watch a cozy mystery. I watched a number of the Christmas episodes of some of the mysteries that I've been enjoying. I watched the David Suchet Poirot of The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding, but they changed the title, something about a ruby. And then I also watched Hercule Poirot's Christmas, and then a number of others as well. I completed 9 Ladies Dancing, have a festive night in or out to get into the festive cheer. And I completed that one at my parents' house as well when all the family was over, and it was very fun. We had Christmas music playing and we were playing games, and it was definitely festive. So yeah, Oh, and then 10 Lords of Leaping, a story with nobility in it, I read Resolution at Midnight. So I completed all the levels and I got to the Sherlock Holmes level. So I'm very proud of myself. Oh, and I also listened to Murder for Christmas by Francis Duncan. It was narrated by Geoffrey Beavers. So that would be another one for 12 drummers drumming. Listen to a crime narrative of your choice. And that was great. I listened to that one on our trip home, actually. And I really did enjoy that. That's a reread for me, but I really did enjoy listening to that story. It was very fun. So there you have it. That is my final wrap up for Cloak and Dagger Christmas. I hope you had a good time as well. I had such a good time reading mysteries and doing reading sprints and Zooms, and it was just, all of it was a lot of fun, and I hope that you had a good time as well. What was your favorite part of Cloak and Dagger Christmas? I would love to know. If you could say in the comment section down below what your favorite part of Cloak and Dagger Christmas was, I would love to know. And now, onwards and upwards, it's 2023, and we're looking forward to a great reading year together. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.